Ever wish you could hit pause, look back, and make sense of everything you've learned in the last few months? Well, that's what we're doing today. We've spent the last 15 episodes unpacking core skills, tools, and mindsets that drive modern ethical selling. And whether you've listened to every one or you're just tuning in, this episode's your guided rewind. Think of it as a sales tune up for your brain and for your pipeline. Let's reset, realign, refocus. Welcome to Sales Today, the podcast for B2B sales professionals looking to master ethical selling and drive real results. I'm Fred Copestake, sales trainer, consultant, and author of Selling Through Partnering Skills, Hybrid Selling, and Ethical Selling. Over the last 15 episodes, we've covered the essentials of ethical, effective selling. These aren't just tips, they're levers. Pull the right ones and you move deals forward, faster, with more trust and more impact. Today, we're stepping back to take a big picture view so that you can see how all those pieces fit together. So why does this matter? Well, because sales isn't just a set of tasks, it's a system. And when you strengthen every link, the whole chain performs better. In this episode, I'll walk you through the themes from each of the 15 essentials, a few key highlights and examples, and how to assess where you should focus next. Let's get into it. So, the first few episodes were about building a solid foundation. In episode 1, we talked about the ideal customer profile. Now, one of the messages in this that perhaps people weren't expecting was knowing who you shouldn't be selling to. Disqualifying is a power move. It's going to save you time, effort, energy, frustration, and allow you to focus on where you can make a difference. So you're going to get faster deals. In the next episode, we talked about the value proposition. Our features are boring. We talked about connecting pain to prize, what the customer is moving away from, what they're moving to, and how we can be the stepping stones between those positions. Your value prop should make them feel seen, that you understand this stuff and that you're worth talking to because you get them and their world. And this moved into the third episode, which is all about messaging. So that relevance is king. Speak their language, not yours. Use their triggers, the pain price stuff we've been talking about in the episode previously, not just templates you've downloaded, you've been given, and that you think will work, but don't really because it's not about them. In episode 4, we start talking about account planning. So this is about don't wing it. Good planning is better execution. Use strategic thinking, not wishful thinking. Take time to do that. It's an investment. People often think that they should be doing all the time. No, sometimes stopping, thinking, slowing down, making sense of stuff is where you'll get the benefit because your customers will get the benefit because it's about them. And one of these things that we can stop and think about, we covered in a whole episode, episode 5, change drivers. We could argue that selling is change management. If we understand what's pushing people to act, what's keeping them stuck, we're in a better position to have better conversations. This is particularly true if you're selling at a higher level. If you're selling at C-level, you have to think like this. External drivers, change drivers. I talked about respect, RESPECT, regulatory, economic, social, political, environmental, competitive, and technological. Said that fast. There's a whole episode on it. Go back and listen to it. If your pipeline feels busy, if you don't feel productive, revisit your ICP and the value prop. It's more than likely not more leads that you need, it's a better fit and sharper relevance. When we get this right, we can start to apply some of the thinking from the next episodes. So in episode 6, we started talking about customer value. So we went a little bit deeper on the value. The value prop's quite generic. We need to make it more specific, make it more tangible. So we need to tie what you do to the actual outcomes they care about. Many salespeople will go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about what they do. Me, we, I. The customer doesn't care. It needs to be about them and what they're trying to achieve. So this is about the conversation. In episode 7, we talked about making conversation better by bringing insights to the table. Yeah, so this is something interesting. It's not just about asking questions. Questions are important. But when we can show them something they might be missing to trigger that conversation, to then use our intelligent questions, it'll make a difference. And that's what we covered in episode 8. So that was all about questioning. Move from a Q&A or interrogation, banting people, to real dialogue. So we talked about open questions. What, why, when, where, who, how. Talked about probing questions. Ted, tell me, explain, describe. Yeah, hypothetical. If. And then how we can wrap these into high gain questions, so well considered and intelligent questions that can really uncover what matters most to them. It's about becoming the sense maker. You probably heard me speak before, salesperson and sense maker, helping people to think so that they understand what matters most. So then in episode 9, we talked about the meeting structure. So making sure all this stuff that we're trying to achieve, we do because we've got it planned and we've got a way of working. It's not just a chat. It's not just a coffee stop. Yeah. We drive a flow. We open well. We explore thoroughly. We close clearly. Talked about AIDA. Love AIDA. Attention, interest, desire, action. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's been around. Uh, I think over 100 years, actually. I used to think it was since the 50s. I found out more recently it's earlier than that. But it works because it's the way our brain works. That's why we like this one. So in episode 10, we started moving into how we can make proposals, making it easy to say yes, no jargon, no guesswork, clear, compelling next steps, and a clear framework for putting that written offer together. So that led us into episode 11, which is about presentations. How do we animate that? How do we bring it to life? However, it's not your show. Yeah, you need to be animating it, but it's their story. Now, if we make them the hero, if we put them at the center of the story, then they will respond to that better because they'll not just logically understand something, they will emotionally connect to it. That's why storytelling is such a powerful way of working. So the structure, emotion, and relevance to presentations, along with storytelling, which was why we put a whole episode together about that. So that was episode 12, storytelling. Data tells, stories sell. Think of it like that. So we want to wrap that message into a narrative, make it memorable. Yeah, hero's journey. I've mentioned that we put the customer at the center of it. Think about how we do it. Case studies. I've not met a salesperson who likes writing case studies. Don't know why. I have some theories around it. Probably because they feel as though it's wasting a lot of time and marketing keep pushing them to go back and get more information from customers who are hard enough to talk to anyway. But when we reframe that as a success story, it's something different. And there's some very basic structures for it. Yeah. What was the customer's challenge? What do we do to help them? And what were the results from that? Now, most people get it wrong because they'll talk about themselves too much in there. How do we help them? That's not the interesting bit. It's the challenge and it's the results. Talk about what you've done with another customer. Someone will recognize themselves in that. About where we're putting our focus. And really, this is where we kind of lead to in episode 13, where we talked about outcomes. That's the focus. People don't buy products, they don't buy features, they don't even buy services. They buy outcomes, results. So, no point in talking about the features. Focus on what they get. ROI, efficiency, confidence, spell it out how they're going to get it, what it is, how they're going to get it. And then in the episode about reviews, I use the phrase that I often use that rattles people's cages, which is that QBRs are a waste of time. Yeah, quarterly business review, waste of time. Change it to a quarterly value review. It's a different proposition altogether. So skip the vanity metrics, skip the stuff that, yeah, that's what we set out to do. We did it. Yeah, well done us. Focus on the value delivered, lessons learned, and where we can move towards in the future, how we can grow together. The last episode of the 15 was about relationships, relationship building. Could have started with this. Yeah, because trust is the ultimate differentiator. We want to be more than a rep, we want to be a partner. Yeah, I shared the stairs model as a way of keeping in touch, doing valuable things, sharing information, thanking people, asking them stuff, inviting them to events, the reviews we've just talked about. Those ways which we can keep the relationship moving forward. It's not about being a friend, it's about doing something of use. So, if we're trying to sum all of this up, this is an expression I use quite often, which is to think like a partner, not a pusher. Modern selling is about co creation, not persuasion. So, let's start to wrap this up. We're going to talk about the 15 essentials. Grab a pen and paper. There is a list coming. In fact, what we'll do is we'll put this into the show notes. But the 15 things we talked about, 15 things your selling needs are: 1, ideal customer profile; 2, value proposition; 3, messaging; 4, account planning; 5, change drivers; 6, customer value; 7, insight; 8, questioning; 9, meeting structure; 10, proposals; 11, presentations; 12, storytelling; 13, outcomes; 14, reviews; 15, relationships. As I open with, these aren't isolated tactics. They build into a system. They reinforce each other. Some elements rely on others. Strength in one is going to boost another. Bring this together, and we are operating more effectively than if we're just picking out little bits. So, action step. There's been an action step in all 15 of those episodes. So the action step in this one is to score yourself. That's why I gave you that list. Look in the show notes. On a scale of 1 to 5, how strong are you in each of these areas? 1, weak; 5, strong. Try to avoid 3. Because what we're doing here is we're looking for the lowest scores. The lowest scores, then they're the ones that's your next focus. That's where you can start to get some benefit by addressing that and upping your overall performance. Ultimately, yes, you could look at all of those. If you want a full scorecard tool around these, message me on LinkedIn. Connect with me, message me, say you've heard it. I will send you something directly, something that we use in our training. I'll ping it off to you. So, if this episode has helped you zoom out, get perspective, sharpen your game, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, share this with a colleague or team. I've already said LinkedIn, connect with me. Let's keep the conversation going. This has been Sales Today. I'm Fred Copestake. Until next time, keep selling the right way.